Batman is living his worst nightmare. In the DC Comics universe, a villain has put the entire universe to sleep, forcing the heroes and villains to live their worst nightmares. Batman should be able to wake himself up. I mean, he's Batman. There's a problem with that. This is Comicstorian. I make audio dramas of your favorite comic books so you know what to add to your collection. And today we're covering Night Terrors, Batman, Issue 1. Long ago, Batman learned that many of his foes would constantly try to get into his head, whether it's through their mind games or their concoctions. They wanted to use his inner thoughts to control him. As Alfred looks down at the giant container of water, he asks if Batman is sure that this will put a stop to it. Batman fits his rebreather, telling him that years ago, he studied in the caves of Nanda Parbat. He learned how to isolate his fears, but he must take it a step further. He knows his fears. Now he needs to know how to keep the others from using them against him. Alfred asks if he's sure that this is a good idea, forcing himself to do this. He worries what this might do to his psyche in the long term, what it might create in Batman. Batman pulls down his visor, telling him to only give him 24 hours, and at that time, wake him up. Do not jump in before that. As Batman floats alone in that container, he rewatches the moment that his parents died, over and over and over again. The movie The Gun Joe Chill. Bang, bang, bang! He emerges from his isolation, throwing the rebreather, shouting, "I told you to only pull me out after 24 hours!" And Alfred stares with a worried look. "It has been 24 hours, sir." Batman rolls onto his back, coughing. "I'll never be over that night that Joe Chill killed them. No matter how many times I witness it, nothing will ever take the pain of that night away except for the end of my mission in Gotham. But hopefully this experience will come in handy someday." Now we cut to the present day. Bruce Wayne has been put to sleep by insomnia. And in this dark and shady nightmare world, Bruce finds himself back at the moment his parents were shot and killed in Crime Alley. A voice calls out asking if it's him. It's been so long since they've seen him. He must hurry to his and his mother's side. Bruce yells out, "No! You're not my father! I'm not a young boy in this alley. None of this is real! I remember now. John D. was killed in Arkham Tower. You took over his dead body and you attacked us with giant spiders. All of this is a nightmare. I've trained for moments like this. All I need to do is wake up. But why can't I?" At that moment, there's a rumble from behind and Bruce turns around to see the giant pearls from his mother rolling and bouncing down the alleyway to him. He runs, jumping through the door, but as he gets up, he sees the Monarch Theater. He gets up stating that they need to get some new tricks. He's faced many people who have hoped to use his last happy moment with his parents against him. Soon the lights go dark, and a projector begins to roll, and Batman laughs. "Haha, go ahead. There's nothing that can be shown that I don't already know." The screen counts down to 1, and the film begins to play what is happening in the real world. The battle that Batman is having in his waking state against insomnia, except Bruce isn't in control of his body. That's why he's stuck in this nightmare as a child. Wait, that means that if I'm trapped in my nightmares, the only reason I'd still be fighting out there. Oh no. Boston! Bruce shouts out to Deadman, "What are you doing? I told you to never take over my body. I can't wake up because you're driving it. Get out now, Boston!" But as frustrated young Bruce gets ready to tear down the screen reaches out, pulling him in. The next time that Bruce blinks, he finds himself not in the theater, but at his parents' home. He looks down at the graves of his mother and his father and Alfred, stating that he's not impressed. He can stop trying to use his parents' deaths against him, or anyone else's for that matter. He looks beyond to see more graves appearing, all with the names of his sons and daughters, and then a voice telling him that they aren't doing anything. That's part of the fun. Bruce is the one controlling the tour of his nightmares. "I'm just along for the ride," Insomnia tells him. Bruce turns back to see Insomnia wearing a Robin costume. "I'm a really big fan. I grew up in Gotham, lived out this whole traumatic life. It's always so cool that not only did we have our very own superhero, but it was Batman. In fact, I'd love to be your sidekick. All you'd have to do is help me find the Nightmare Stone. Dr. Destiny hid it in the nightmares of one of the heroes. And if you tell me where it's at, the nightmare will be over. For everyone. Bruce looks up at the imposing man. You're the creature that took over John Dee's body. What are you? I'm the thing that goes bump in the night. The boogeyman. Your worst nightmare. You can call me Insomnia. Soon there's a rumble as the dead bodies from the graves begin to rise up. So what'll it be? You in? Bruce begins to fight off the corpses. If you think that I had any issue fighting against my own fears, you're mistaken. But that's what Selena walks forward telling him. Say yes to Insomnia, and we can try this marriage thing again. You should listen to her. You wouldn't want the cat to leave you again, would you? But this is the real truth, isn't it? Your greatest fear is happiness. Bruce smacks Insomnia's arm away. I am not afraid of being happy, or of you. I face down the Joker, and you are not. But before Bruce could finish his sentence, he begins to cough. Oh, what's that? Does the cat have your tongue? Or is it something else? Bruce continues to choke until something rises out of his throat until he coughs out a giant thing. Bruce begins trying to regain himself, and he sees the thing that came out of him was a giant bat with a gun for a head. The bat screams as it starts to shoot at him, and Bruce runs. What is that? When you became Batman, you turned yourself into a creature of the night. You transformed yourself into a symbol of nightmares. But now the nightmare has a mind of its own, Bruce. Bruce begins to try and outrun the bat gun monster until he's finally hit, and Insomnia bursts out laughing. Bang, bang! How's it feel to have your own darkness turned against you, Brucey? Bruce begins to pick himself back up. You know, I should thank you. I actually felt that, and it freed me. I know what I must do now. I have to go deeper into my own nightmare, into my own mind, to regain control of my body from Deadman. The now fully grown and fully armored Bruce Wayne stands up, throwing a pair of batarangs at the bat creature. And once I'm done, I'm coming for you, Insomnia! Insomnia laughs. You are making a big mistake. You keep bringing fears. I am no Jonathan Crane. It's been said before, but you're the one building this nightmare. You have lived in the darkness. You have thought some of the worst scenarios known to man. If you go too deep into your own mind, Batman, there's no telling what you might find. Bruce travels down into the dark cave, into his inner nightmares, and he's transported once more. When he looks around, he finds himself back in Crime Alley. Except he is Joe Chill. He points the gun at his own father. No, I'm not in control, I'm not! Bang. That is the conclusion to part 1 of Batman's worst nightmare. But as a backup in this issue, we see what Damian is doing, so let's go into Robin's worst nightmare. As the winds die down on a temple in the desert, the old man is sitting inside opening his eyes, saying that only a small number of people are mad enough to brave the sandstorms. Have you come to kill me, Damian Wayne? Damian steps in. My grandfather used to speak to me in whispers, a master of sleep and dreams. I'm sorry about Ra's al Ghul's passing. He was an old friend, but what do you want? I had a nightmare. At first I thought it faded from my thoughts, but I knew better. I kept searching my mind and all I get are images. Images of a man traveling across the dreamscape in search of something. It's like it's on the tip of my mind, hidden away from me. We must use whatever resources there are to unlock my dreams. I have to understand what's been shown to me so that I may defeat it. The old man grabs a handful of sand, pouring it into a small hourglass. What you're asking for is dangerous. The land of dreams is a sacred place. Your grandfather tried to learn how to access it and he failed, and now you have exactly 1 minute to prove yourself in ways others before you could not. At that moment, a group of ninjas appear, and Damian gets to work quickly dispatching them. As he stands back up, he looks at the old man. It would really be in everyone's best interest if you stopped comparing me to everyone. The old man stands up and begins to walk. The books are this way. You're just as annoying as your grandfather was. Damien begins to look through scrolls and parchments, trying to discover ways to unlock his dreams. But he learns that he must sleep properly first. Damien looks at another scroll depicting an image of Insomnia fighting and defeating Deadman. Wait, this! At that moment, Batman calls out over the comms that they have a red alert. Emergency protocols. Activate no sleep till Gotham. Damien turns to leave, but suddenly the energy that Insomnia used to put the world to sleep washes over the temple. The old man says not to worry. They have trained for decades. The Nightmare Stone and its powers will have no effect on... Damien tries to fight his way towards the old man, but before he can reach him, he falls to the ground. Moments later, Damien opens his eyes. It worked. I can stay awake. And I remember my nightmare. I must find my father, and then Insomnia will pay. And that concludes Batman's Worst Nightmare issue number 1. Now, these are all 2-part issues that will continue next month, but over here at Comicstorian, we're going to be bringing you everyone's worst nightmares that I find interesting, tomorrow being the worst nightmare of the Joker. So make sure you like and subscribe to keep up to date as to what is going on in the world of Night Terrors. An incredible event, and if you want early access to a lot of these things, then make sure you go check out our Patreon, or you can sign up right here at YouTube memberships. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you next time right here.